Well, hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time with our opening night ceremony at the Paramount Theater and online. This is our fifth Catskill International Film Festival, and we are excited to have this first Q&A of the season, Hope. Welcome, guys. Thank you guys for coming on.
Greetings.
So before we get started, I want you guys to basically introduce yourself. Let us know what your role is in Hope, whether it's behind the scenes, in front of the camera, what it is.
Well, my name is Mike Timoney, and I'm delighted to be here. I was the writer and the director of Hope, and I guess I was the producer as well. And yeah, and just thrilled to be included in the festival.
Thank you.
I'm Bob Rutan. I was in the film. I played the role of the barfly, kind of the framing device Mike decided to use for the film.
That's right.
You play a very important role in this film, and for me, it was a personal role in the film because this film deals with a lot of awkwardness between people revealing their emotions with one another, and so many times in life we're either having that awkward discussion with someone, argument, and then we look over and there's a stranger staring at us. So I felt that deeply. I'm like, damn it. And if this movie needed to be like time sensitive or of the times, the only thing different about your character, Bob, you'd have a camera in your hand and you'd be recording us.
It's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That was good.
So, congratulations first and foremost for having an official selection.
Thank you.
In this year's event. And we'll have our fingers crossed for audience choice. Remember, people, vote, vote, vote. It is up to you this year for a lot of the board categories. All you got to do is log on to Catskill International Film Festival and vote for your favorite projects. So to Mike, what in particular gave you the idea to create a story like this?
I had a friend, it was during COVID, and I had a friend who challenged me to write something. And for some reason, the first idea that came into my head was that I feel that over the course of my life, I have shown this penchant for coming up with the right thing to say exactly 10 minutes after I needed to come up with it. And so I thought, let's start with that. And then, relationships and, putting the two people, in a bar, people who were BFFs and, just her wanting to change the relationship and kind of up the stakes. And him, when he realizes he didn't say the right thing, looking just for something to give him some time for, to come up with another shot at saying the right thing. And he chooses a very extreme thing.
I got a kick out of that because I've known people that have done maybe not that drastic. Well, yeah, pretty drastic. I had a friend once who he needed to get off work and he was adopted. And, he had a really poor relationship with his father. So he killed his father off whenever he needed time off at work. And I'm like, my buddy, like, I feel like you've killed him off last year too. Like, how many times is dad going to die?
Yeah.
For you to get some time off?
Bit of an extreme choice.
Have any of you ever had to, I mean, I don't want to put you guys on blast here, but have any of you ever created something so extreme to get yourself out of a situation?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're up, Bob.
In my 20s all the time. I lost relatives that I actually never had, but I lost them multiple times. I had a whole series of diseases.
Oh my God.
Some of which I don't think even really exist in medical science. I was a free spirit back then, or at least that's what I like to call myself, and constantly was getting myself into trouble. And you would do a decent excuse the first couple of times, but after it was the third or fourth time with the same person, you had to make it extreme for them to still have any hope of showing you sympathy. So and mind you, it never worked. I always got caught, and it's the reason why I'm not in touch with a lot of people I knew in my 20s.
Oh man, this seems like a deeper
I
story,
decided
man.
my 30s should be a reinvent, which fortunately it was.
Charles, I had a friend who, after they saw Hope, they said, I absolutely want to see the sequel, which is all about the barfly and his story. And Bob is obviously supplying me with some pretty serious material right here.
This actually segues me right into the next question. One of the things about this project that was very interesting to me is I felt like there was a story we weren't seeing. There was more to it. There was more drama behind the scenes as far as these two characters. Because, like, I feel like we didn't get a full picture. And I know as a writer and director myself, there's various forms of the film of what you intended that didn't make the cut. Is this the story you intended to start at this moment? Was there more that we didn't get to see?
I remember hearing, I'm not sure, I think it was John Sayles who said, there's the film that you write, and there's the film that you shoot, and the film that you edit. And I definitely, in writing this, and in directing them, and Bob is right there, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember saying at one point that, it's as much about what's not being said
Yeah.
as it is about what is being said. And we talked a lot about backstory. I mean, different actors need different things. And our guy Travis Mitchell, who's terrific, and I've known him for decades. I've known all the actors. I've known them for a long time, and I knew that he really didn't need a lot. And I think I said one or two things to him that whole day. And whereas Judy Krause, again, who I've known for a long time, she was like everything, everything and anything. I'm a sponge. I want to know all kinds of stuff. So I would tell her a little bit more of maybe backstory. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because we don't
Yeah.
have Travis or Judy here tonight. And I was interested because the film relies a lot on chemistry. If there was no chemistry because of the size of this project, it would not work. And that's wonderful that you guys have chemistry. Like, I felt that there was some sort of romance and history between these two characters just from the way
Right.
they looked at one another. And that's
Right.
important between actors. So, like, behind the scenes were they, I don't want to give away drama if there was drama, but like, did they mesh well and flow well?
Absolutely. I mean, they and they've known each other for a long time as well. Yeah, I think that they absolutely did. They're both pros. Judy flew in the night before. She had been shooting a feature in Norway, and she got in
No.
10:30 the night before we shot, which actually was a rookie mistake on my part. And I learned always give yourself a day, a buffer day if people are traveling. And so I was a little bit nervous there. I was like, hey, she could get delayed, and then what do we do? But luckily it didn't happen. But yeah, no, they were pros. And actually I had done three different Zoom sessions with different actors, six different actors, just to kind of answer some questions to myself about how old they needed to be, old enough to have had a lot of experience in
Mhm.
life, to know that there was a lot at stake. Like if she proposed this and he wasn't into it, maybe she's going to lose her best friend. So they had to be of a certain age. And I've heard that comment from people. They were thrilled to see something of people who were of a certain age. But no, they were dead on. And the first time we read in my apartment, we read it. I was like, yeah, this is. They say 95% is casting.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I was very happy, and they were great right from the get go.
And if
You,
I can jump in here, too, Judy and Travis both are incredibly giving actors, and both of them work very, very hard. I say work hard. I think it's natural for both of them actually to have that connection from the get go. It was interesting for me because I didn't see what they were doing that day. I was passed out on the bar. My head was down, and whatever, but listening to them was really quite amazing to spend the day listening to them and the various takes, and then when Mike would do a small change or adjustment somewhere, to hear that. But the first time when I saw the film, that connection was exactly what I was hearing. It was so amazing to visually see something that I had heard so strongly, and to see that it was working on firing on every cylinder was just really quite amazing.
Yeah. I felt the same way. And to add to what you were saying before, in regards to the casting choice, where you had the two characters older, I thought that was unique because when you see these like romantic stories, it's a lot of these like, young and hot people. Not saying that they're not hot, but I'm saying like these young people coming about like, oh, I feel like there's more weight having these two characters live the entire life prior to. They might have children that know each other or whatnot, and I don't know. It's exciting to see, like just like you were
Thank
about
you.
the friendship thing and
Yeah,
not wanting to lose that.
if you're talking about backstory, Charles, I pictured it that they, like I say, they're best friends, that when they had their individual relationships with other people and they weren't working out, they were the ones that talked to each other about it. They
Yeah,
were the friend that really confided. And she has finally realized that, this could be the guy,
yeah,
right in front of me the whole time. And there's I think, a lovely moment that Judy did when they're talking right before she says what she says about "I want you," where she's looking at him and she kind of taps her fingers on the bar and she puts down the bar down, looks at him again, and you can actually see the decision being made in her eyes. That here we go. I'm going out on the limb. I'm going for it. And she says to him what she says.
and nobody like one of the things too, which I liked about it, is the way I felt like the roles were reversed. A lot of times in movies, you see the man initiates the idea of rejection. Like, I kind of want to take you on a date. And she looks at him like, what? And that's what I found refreshing. Very rarely do you see a woman initiate in that way. Not to say that, times haven't changed, but to see that was refreshing as well. To
Thank you.
feel,
And
yeah,
And I think too that kind of contributed to the fact that he doesn't say the thing that he's supposed to say. He doesn't say what she needs to hear because, maybe nobody has ever said that to him before, as, out there as she does. So,
yeah.
and he reacts like, all of us men do because we're idiots,
I felt it
so.
was very genuine too. The idea of them being in a bar, I felt like they actually worked side by side there. Even for like a few minutes short, I got
Mhm.
the feeling that it was very casual for the
You
both of
felt
them.
the history that they had, like,
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Nice.
So
Nice.
I wanted to add, Bob. So how long were you sitting there eavesdropping?
uh,
You,
we started shooting late morning. We wrapped early afternoon with a lunch break, and I was pretty much had my head down on that bar 3/4 of that time. Uh, it was even even when we knew that I wasn't going to be in the shot, it was important to Mike that my presence be there for the two of them. Except for the couple times where the camera was where in my spot. But yeah, I was there listening the whole time, which I again was great. From not only am I an actor, but I admire good acting, and to be able to just kind of have that focus on what they were doing vocally
Mhm.
was really, it was a fun day. I ended up with a crick in my neck that took about 3 days to get out.
I was gonna say we should have had an ice pack there for you, Bob. We didn't, and I'm sorry about that. I'm still, yeah,
And
sorry.
it wasn't even real scotch. It was apple juice. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, what a lousy gig it turned into
Oh
for you.
man, they didn't provide you guys with like hard stuff, man.
Right? What a
Um,
lame production. Yeah.
so like a lot of this is for the people out there that aren't necessarily filmmakers, and I have these conversations all the time with people, and they're like, "Really?" So this is a 4.5 minute short, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So people think, okay, so what goes into making a 4.5 short. Between the pre-production all the way to post-production, how long did this project take for completion?
I'd say a year.
Okay.
I think it was a year from when I wrote it, and the guy who challenged me, I went and had lunch with him, and I said, I think this is something that might be a fun thing for people to see. And he said, well, it will be, because I'm going to edit it for you, and I'm going to be your AD. And that was Jay Stern, who's a terrific director, filmmaker himself. Um, and we both had worked on a project, and he said, let me call Alan McIntyre Smith, to see if he can shoot it, which he was able to do it. And then it was scheduling, but also it was getting involved with SAG at the time to find out, union things. It was also raising money. Everything was a 501c3 donation, but it was setting up a fiscal sponsor where you take the funds and all that. And all of this was new to me. I'd produced some theater, but had not produced a film. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and I just looked at it as a fun learning experience as well. And then the editing and the post-production. I have a brother who's an actor, and I showed him a rough cut when everybody walked out in the beginning of the bar, and then Judy and Travis started to talk. And he said, if you're interested in one little recommendation from me, a little comment. I said, absolutely. He said, you need to have a creak of a door closing so we know they just left. And I was like, thank you. Thank you, my brother Bill. Yeah. So
It's the little
things like
things.
that. And it's the attention to detail, and those things, just take time. So it was back and forth with the sound guy to add in this and take out, another sound, and all the coloring and all that, which is a whole nother person who comes. It was fascinating. And this was I'm in my mid 60s, and this was my first time directing a film, and I had a blast. And it was, yeah, thank you. But to Bob and Travis and Judy and everybody else involved, I really hit the jackpot with these people. So it was great.
The great thing about doing your first film, which you should be very proud of, is the fact of all the things now to look for in the future with your next projects. Because the first film, which you didn't, the first films you normally fall on your face, and you have a lot of sadness.
This time it was Bob with his face on the bar. He's the one who had the face on
I
the
fell
bar.
on my face.
But it's a great thing.
Yeah,
this is what we've been saying to Mike, is those of us who've been involved with this project and our friends who have seen it cannot wait to see what this man does next. Because for a first out of the first time, what an amazing piece of art and love he's created. And how does he top this? We're sure he's going to, and he's got this whole fan base now that's just waiting for the next high-tech production film to be done.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. Awfully kind of you.
I consider myself a fan of Hope. Like I said before, I want to see what's next for these characters, or even in my mind, there's a lot of films out there. There's one film in particular. I don't want to ever make parallels, but there's a film out there with James Gandolfini and Julianne Dreyfus. Came out a few years ago, where it was kind of like an odd match, but they were friends that became interested. And there was something about that film that I remember, all the could have beens or the conversations we didn't get to see behind the scenes. And it kind of reminded me of this film a lot when I watched it. Like, I imagine when, the final credits roll, what the conversation over their first date would be like.
Right. Right.
Or just the awkwardness of two friends kissing for the very first time.
Yeah, I had comments about all of those things, and about kissing or not kissing. Once they saw it and they saw what my decision was, people were like, "Oh, you didn't do that," or whatever. It's like, well, there's maybe another one. We'll see.
That's great. See, positivity into the future.
Yep.
So I want to put this out there for both of you. Both can answer in your own way. And what do you hope that the audiences will get out of this film?
Bob, you want to go first?
I hope, I hope that from Hope, people will say, you know what, I've been thinking about doing this, but it's awkward, or what if I get rejected, whatever. But take the plunge. Take the plunge. If I hadn't taken the plunge, I wouldn't have been naked behind the bar drinking at the end of the things. And that's really what I think the film is all
Totally all about.
Take the risk.
But take the risk. Take the risk. And again, I'm in my mid 60s. I've looked back, and the number of times I wish I had taken the risk and I didn't. And how would my life be different? Would it be different? And yes, sometimes you get rejected, but at the end of the day, it's going to be better if you may get rejected sometimes, but you won't get rejected all the time, and life will be better if you take the risk. That's what I hope they get from Hope.
There we go.
It's almost a metaphor. Sorry to cut you off, but it's almost a metaphor in a way for you, Tim. You took this leap of faith into this film world, and good, bad, or indifferent, you jumped headfirst into it, and you came out with something really beautiful.
Thank you. I think that too, one of the things, Charles, that happened when I was thinking about it after Jay challenged me to write something, I said, I'm of Bob's vintage. And I said, I don't want to get to a certain point in my life and say, why did I never do something like that? Again, why did I not? So, and between the pandemic and hitting a birthday that was significant and all those things kind of came together. Um, I am delighted, and I am always just so thrilled that people seem surprised that they're not ooh, I didn't know the movie was going to go there. I thought it was going to go somewhere else. And then that it does turn out to be that in 4.5 minutes it is a lot is covered. And I remember telling Judy that I said, your character goes goes through the ringer emotionally. It's ups and downs for her, and it's quite a travel. It's quite a journey for her particularly. But I think that's what I think when people see it. I'm delighted to hear them come up and say, "Wow, that was a journey, and that was really lovely." That's really nice. Nice to hear.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think adding once again to what you guys are saying, I hope that the audience use this as kind of like, a second chance for their own lives. Both of you, you're coming to be a part of this film and the storyline in general. There's too many people, especially in this industry, whether it's shallow about age and about expertise. You always hear you got to do this before you do that. You got to have so many years experience before you do that. Years ago, when I started the film festival, back when we were Hudson Valley, like 7 years ago, there were so many people that were like, well, give it a few years before you jump the gun, just get some more notches on your belt. But then those days never come. And a lot of the filmmakers that I started off with in the very beginning are no longer here because I don't want to say that they get beaten down by doubting themselves, but if you don't get to that certain goal by a certain time, so it's always exciting when people take that leap of faith for good, bad, or indifferent, just like, her character in the film, she takes the faith and hopes that he answers correctly.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Charles. Yeah, I couldn't be happier with how it has all worked out. Luckily, I had good people on the crew, and creatively, I knew they weren't going to let me do anything that was, really terrible or stupid. So I felt like I had a safety net underneath me, and yeah, it was just fun to just go out there and if I think I remember hearing, I don't know who it was, William Goldman or somebody else that said, if you're gonna fail hugely, or words to that effect, if you so I was like, sure, why not? What have I got to lose? So
That's an awesome way to go. So I'm going to end this with this question right here. What is next for the both of you? Since we kind of go into the future here.
I think I'm going to make a short film about Bob's barfly character because it seems like it's right there. It's right there, Bob.
I guess that may be what I'm doing next. I I have 2 short films that are actually in a festival in Massachusetts tonight.
Wow.
And I have another short film that I have written that I am shopping around trying to follow Mike's example. And he has also been an inspiration to me that way too. He had a script that he loved. He had a project that he wanted to do, and he went ahead and did it. And after seeing the success of this film, I said, you know what? Let me do what Mike does. Let me be like Mike. So Mike has given me a hope for direction for my next adventure.
Well,
Amazing.
thank you, Bob. Thank you. And I'm actually, as an actor, I'm shooting a film tomorrow morning with Annie Watkins, who's this terrific actress who I've known for a number of years, and I'm playing her father, being married to another actress named Laurie Hamill, and Jay Stern is actually directing this. So yeah, it's Alan McIntyre Smith is the DP once again. So it's just great to end up working with people who and you know that if you mess up a line or something, we say cut and we go back and we just do it again. And it's it's just you want to make it a positive set and just have fun. And really, I think that's a wonderful thing. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and that's tomorrow.
Very nice. So this has been a very insightful and inspirational Q&A. I'm happy that we started off on the right foot, and hope you guys are out voting. Remember, you got to be in it to win it. You guys did it. You submitted. You're in the festival. Now let's bring home the trophies, guys. Have your people vote.
Great.
So
thank you, Charles.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right. We'll see you. Take care.